So if you're like me, you want to optimize every little part of your dev setup so that way it just works perfectly. During my tenure at OpenCode so far, I've been doing that exact thing for my sort of OpenCode config on how I want to manage my server. Because OpenCode works on the fundamental premise that there is a server and a client. And the server is only one instance, and every single client connects back to that server, so that way you can have aggregated metrics, all the same sessions, and it's just easier to manage whenever you have to like reload environment variables or plugins or configs or commands or anything like that. But the issue is that I would always run OpenCode serve within a little like terminal window with Ghosty, and I might close it sometimes, or if the machine went to sleep, it would close the server, and then if I'm trying to access it on my phone, it just didn't work. And I like everything to just work. So when I saw that Aaron Francis announced Solo, a desktop app that manages your entire dev stack, that really doesn't seem like something I would need. But then after I downloaded it, I saw that, wait, there might be an opportunity here for me to host my OpenCode server on Solo and then have that be running in the background with any of my other processes that I'm working on, like an inbound repo or maybe some of the OpenCode dev server stuff. And then I can also set up a caddy proxy, so that way whenever I go to https opencode.local on any device on my local network, it just goes to the same OpenCode server that is synced between all of my devices. That way I can just have one dev environment, not have to worry about like my remote one and then my one on the phone and then the one on this computer and that desktop and all the junk. It just works. But there was a unique problem, because I'll go into how I got it set up, but I have to jump the gun because I was like, I wonder if there's a way that I can restart the server from the client. And previously this was a little bit rough because you might have to do like multiple steps or something, but I am pleased to report that I can run /restart and it will get this failed to send command request. But then if I refresh, this is an entirely new OpenCode server instance. Let me explain what exactly happened and break it down. This is super cool. It's my brand new dev stack, and Solo is free for up to 3 projects. So honestly, this could be your stack for running OpenCode. I highly recommend it. First off, it is set up by adding a new project. So if I go into Solo and I type project, I can click add project, and then it will let me select the directory that I want to have it be hosted in. I just created this like random OpenCode server instance folder to kind of just house everything. But then in my actual config, I set it up so that way the 2 processes will have a start location of my home directory. I don't know where that is specified, but it's specified somewhere whenever you add a process. Let me see if I can replicate it here. Yeah, it says working directory. I don't think I can edit that. Aaron, if you're watching this, I should be able to edit the home directory of a process once it's already created. Regardless, we've got our standard settings. Auto start, which is nice. It will auto start all the processes, which means that when my computer turns on, all of the OpenCode serve and caddy stuff will work out. And then I just got a generic icon, and if there is a crash or the server exits or caddy exits, I will get a notification, and I will also get terminal alerts when something else like rings a bell or like requests attention or requests input. It will kind of like say like, hey, do something, which can be really nice. Let's break it down, the 2 commands. So I've got OpenCode serve running. If we open the Solo config right here, it's in NVim. So I'm learning. I'm not confident, but I'm learning NVim. So we've got obviously our workspace name, we've got our icon, and then we have 2 processes. So the first one is OpenCode serve. That is running the command OpenCode serve --mdns --port, and I just picked a random port that I know I'm never going to use, and that's just going to be where the server is parked. Then I've got 2 important things. Auto start is true and auto restart is true. So that way, if the server ever crashes or if there's like a Stack Overflow error or anything like that, it just auto restarts and is good to go. Now, it does have this restart when change, which I'm going to mess around with this, but I'm pretty sure if you link your opencode.json config file to this restart when changed, it will auto restart OpenCode serve whenever you change your config file. Now, when you restart OpenCode serve, it will kill any active agents, but it just means your server essentially hot reloads whenever you change a config file, and I would probably set this up for my global config file. And then we've got an empty env thing, which is fine. But for the opencode.local, that is SSL and HTTPS, I am using Caddy. So I've got a Caddy reverse proxy set up so that way anything from HTTPS opencode.local routes and port forwards to localhost 1904. And it's got the same working dir and same auto start and auto restart because we want both of those in sync. So now that we know how that works, then we can kind of just go in solo and open up those two processes. It's really nice because it can kind of just show you the overview of the stuff happening in the terminal. Same thing, we've got OpenCode serve running right here, and you could easily like restart it by just clicking like R when you're inside the window, but it just kind of works. So then if we go over to Arc and we just do opencode.local, so then I could access that on my phone or anywhere, and that restart command, that's where I had to get a little bit creative because Solo is brand new. So, and I don't blame anybody from the Solo team, especially Aaron, they did a great job, but there's a REST API and an MCP server available. But I couldn't really give the agent access to the Solo MCP because when it makes the request, it would die and then that would cause another crash and it just didn't work. So I got to work with OpenCode and I got it to essentially reverse engineer and essentially create a stateless CLI that wrapped the MCP for Solo. And it's in this GitHub gist right here, and it will be down below if you want it. But basically, it's just a simple CLI where I can go solo MCP, and it gives me all the usage. But then it uses the auth from the Solo like MCP server to be able to restart, stop, output, ports, stats, anything like that. Then I created a custom slash command, just like here. And it basically takes advantage of the fact that you can run shell commands inside of OpenCode slash commands by just running the CLI solo-mcp restart 3 OpenCode serve. And this right here will restart the server, but that's why we see that little failed message error, because as this command is running, the server itself is restarted by the CLI. So it's super cool to see. I think this works great, and this is just such a quality of life improvement. If you want to check out Solo, it's available at soloterm.com. Huge shout out to Aaron Francis for making this. It looks really good. I went ahead and bought the Pro version just because it gives me unlimited projects, unlimited processes, priority email support, activate on 3 devices, all future updates, all the good stuff. And I just really want to support his work because I think this is super cool, and I'm sure that it's going to get even better in the future. And I'd love to get OpenCode working just seamlessly on it. Like imagine if it was just a pre-built sort of plugin inside of Solo that you could just run an OpenCode server instance and have it managed inside of Solo. I think that's awesome. This has been a huge help to my dev server setup. I've got my inbound stuff running, and I will probably get other projects working on here as well. But thank you so much for watching. Make sure to follow, like, subscribe, whatever, and let me know what your dev server setup looks like, because with these new ages of AI tools, whether you have a Claude Code Swarm or if you're just a traditional tabber on like Cursor or something, I would love to see how you're using AI in your setup and how you are making it the most efficient way, so that way it just works. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. See ya.